The dust from the afternoon train still hung in the air like a dirty veil when Owen Zimmerman noticed the woman sitting on the wooden bench outside the Manassas station, her shoulders shaking with sobs that seemed to come from somewhere deep inside her chest. Owen had just finished loading supplies onto his wagon, the late summer heat of 1884 making his shirt stick to his back, and he had been ready to head back to his ranch, 5 miles outside this small Colorado town. But something about the way she sat there, alone and devastated, made him pause with his boot halfway to the wagon step. She was young, maybe in her early 20s, with auburn hair that had come loose from its pins and now hung in disheveled waves around her face. Her dark green traveling dress was dusty from the journey, and a small carpet bag sat at her feet like a loyal dog. Owen looked around the station platform, expecting to see someone coming to claim her, but the few other passengers from the eastbound train had already scattered into town or been collected by waiting family. This woman sat completely alone. Owen was not the kind of man who involved himself in other people's business without good reason. At 27, he had learned that life in the Colorado Territory could be hard enough without taking on troubles that were not your own. But his mother had raised him better than to leave a crying woman at a train station as the sun started its descent toward the mountains. He approached slowly, removing his hat as he got closer. "Excuse me, miss," he said, his voice gentle despite its natural roughness. "Are you all right? Is someone coming to fetch you?" The woman looked up, and Owen felt something shift in his chest. Her eyes were the color of honey in sunlight, currently red-rimmed from crying, and her face held a delicate beauty that seemed at odds with the raw emotion etched across it. She wiped at her cheeks quickly, embarrassed to have been caught in such a state. "I am sorry," she said, her voice hoarse. "I did not mean to make a spectacle of myself." "You are not making a spectacle," Owen assured her. "But it will be dark soon, and this is not a good place for a lady to be alone. Are you waiting for someone?" Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "No, there is no one. I came here because I thought there would be someone, but I was wrong. I was very wrong about everything." Owen crouched down so he was more at her level, his hat dangling from his fingers. "What happened?" She looked at him for a long moment, as if trying to decide whether she could trust this stranger with a weathered face and kind eyes. Finally, she spoke. "My name is Olivia Thorne. I came from Boston to marry a man I have been corresponding with for 6 months. Samuel Matthews. He said he owned a successful mercantile here, that he wanted a wife, that he would build me a good life. I sold everything I had to afford the train fare and come west." "And he was not here to meet you?" Owen asked, though he could already guess the answer. "Oh, he was here," Olivia said bitterly, "for about 5 minutes. Just long enough to tell me that he had changed his mind, that I was not what he expected, and that I should get back on the next eastbound train." She laughed, but it was a broken sound. "Except I spent my last money getting here. I have 17 cents to my name and nowhere to go." Owen felt anger rise in his chest at this Samuel Matthews, whoever he was. What kind of man invited a woman halfway across the country and then abandoned her? He stood up and settled his hat back on his head, making a decision that surprised him even as the words left his mouth. "Come home with me tonight," he said. Olivia's eyes widened. "What?" "I have a ranch outside town. It is not fancy, but it is respectable. I have a housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, who lives in a cabin on the property. You can stay in the spare room, get a good night's sleep, and figure out what you want to do next with a clear head. Better than sitting here at this station." "I could not possibly impose on you like that," Olivia said, though her voice held a note of desperate hope. "It would not be an imposition," Owen said. "Truth is, I could use some help around the place. Mrs. Chen does the cooking and cleaning, but she has been talking about visiting her daughter in Denver. If you are looking for work to earn enough for a ticket back east, I could hire you on temporarily. Room and board plus wages. Olivia stared at him. You do not even know me. Why would you help me like this? Owen shrugged. My mother always said that we are judged by how we treat people when they are at their lowest. Besides, you have honest eyes. I trust my gut about people, and my gut says you are good folk who got dealt a bad hand. Olivia stood up slowly, clutching her carpetbag. She was shorter than Owen had expected, the top of her head barely reaching his shoulder. I do not know what to say. Thank you does not seem adequate. Then just say you will accept the help, Owen said. He gestured to his wagon. It is not the finest transportation, but it will get us there before full dark. The ride to the ranch gave them time to talk. Olivia told Owen about her life in Boston, where she had worked as a seamstress after her parents died of influenza 3 years ago. She spoke of the loneliness of the city, how she had answered Samuel's advertisement in a matrimonial newspaper, thinking it would be her chance at a new beginning. Owen listened, occasionally commenting but mostly letting her talk. He could tell she needed to get it all out. In turn, Owen told her about his ranch. He raised cattle and horses, had built the place up from nothing over the past 6 years. His parents had died when he was 21, leaving him a small inheritance that he had used to buy the land. It was hard work, lonely work sometimes, but it was his. You never get isolated out here by yourself? Olivia asked as they bumped along the dirt road. I have ranch hands who come during busier seasons, Owen said. And Mrs. Chen is good company, though she keeps to herself mostly. I suppose I am used to my own company. After my parents passed, I found that I preferred the quiet. The ranch house came into view as the sun painted the sky in shades of orange and purple. It was a solid structure, built from timber and stone, with a wide porch and shuttered windows. Not grand, but well-maintained and welcoming. Smoke rose from the chimney of a smaller cabin about 50 yards from the main house. Mrs. Chen emerged as they pulled up, a petite woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense demeanor. Owen explained the situation, and to Olivia's relief, Mrs. Chen simply nodded and beckoned her inside. Poor girl, Mrs. Chen said in her accented English. Men can be fools. You come, I show you room, get you settled. The spare room was small but clean, with a bed covered in a patchwork quilt, a washstand, and a window that looked out over the eastern pasture. Olivia set down her carpetbag and felt tears threaten again, but this time from gratitude rather than despair. Dinner that night was a quiet affair. Mrs. Chen had made a hearty stew with fresh bread, and they ate at the large wooden table in the kitchen. Owen asked Olivia about her skills, and she told him about her sewing, her ability to keep household accounts, her experience helping in her father's small bookkeeping business before he died. If you are serious about the work, Olivia said, I can do more than just help around the house. I am good with numbers. I could help organize your business records if you need it. Owen smiled. I will confess that paperwork is not my strong suit. If you can make sense of my ledgers, I would be grateful. Over the following days, Olivia settled into life at the ranch in a way that surprised both of them. She woke early, helped Mrs. Chen with breakfast, and spent her mornings organizing Owen's chaotic business records. His ledgers were a mess of scribbled notes and incomplete entries, but Olivia had a methodical mind. She created a proper accounting system, tracking expenses and income, noting which cattle buyers paid the best prices, recording which breeding stock produced the strongest calves. In the afternoons, she would help with other tasks around the ranch. She mended clothes, helped in the vegetable garden, even learned to feed the chickens that Mrs. Cheng kept. It was physical work, different from her life in Boston, but Olivia found she enjoyed the tangible results of her labor. Owen watched her transformation with quiet admiration. The devastated woman from the train station had been replaced by someone with purpose and energy. Her cheeks developed color from the sun, and her honey-colored eyes regained their sparkle. He found himself looking for excuses to be near the house during the day, to check on how her work was progressing, to share a cup of coffee and conversation. One evening, about 2 weeks after Olivia's arrival, Owen came in from checking on a mare about to foal to find Olivia still working at his desk by lamplight. Her hair was pinned up, revealing the elegant line of her neck, and she was so focused on the columns of numbers that she did not hear him approach. "You are going to ruin your eyes working in this light," he said gently. Olivia jumped, then laughed. "You startled me. I was just finishing up the quarterly summary. Owen, did you know that you have been undercharging the Army supplier by nearly 15%? He has been taking advantage of the fact that you were not tracking the market rates properly." Owen pulled up a chair beside her. "Show me." They sat close together as Olivia walked him through her findings. Owen tried to focus on the numbers, but he kept getting distracted by her nearness, the way she gestured with her ink-stained fingers, the little furrow that appeared between her eyebrows when she concentrated. He had been attracted to women before, but this felt different. This felt like something deeper taking root. "You have a good head for this," he said when she finished. "Better than good. You have probably saved me hundreds of dollars." Olivia blushed with pleasure. "It feels good to be useful. To have skills that matter." "They always mattered," Owen said quietly. "That fool Samuel just did not have the sense to see what he had." Their eyes met and something electric passed between them. Olivia looked away first, suddenly flustered. "I should get to bed. Tomorrow Mrs. Chen wants to teach me how to make proper bread." After she left, Owen sat alone in the dimly lit room, realizing with absolute clarity that he was falling in love with Olivia Thorne. The knowledge should have frightened him. He had always assumed he would live his life alone, married to his work and his land. But Olivia had slipped past his defenses without even trying, and now he could not imagine the ranch without her in it. The problem was that Olivia was still healing from Samuel's rejection. Owen could see it in the way she sometimes grew quiet and sad, in the way she shied away from any mention of the future. He did not want to rush her or make her feel pressured. She had come to his home seeking safety, and he would not betray that trust by pushing his feelings on her before she was ready. So Owen did what he had always done best. He worked, he waited, and he let his feelings show through actions rather than words. He brought Olivia wildflowers from the meadow. He taught her to ride the gentlest mare in his stable. He listened when she talked about her parents, her life in Boston, her dreams of what could have been. He made her feel seen and valued in all the ways Samuel had not. Mrs. Chen noticed, of course. One morning when Owen came in for breakfast, she gave him a knowing look. "You care for her," Mrs. Chen said. "It was not a question." "Is it that obvious?" Owen asked. "To me, yes. To her, maybe not yet. She has been hurt. She does not trust easily now." "I know," Owen said. "I do not want to push." Mrs. Chen patted his arm. "Patient man wins in the end. You are a good man, Owen. She will see." As summer turned to early autumn, the ranch became busier. Owen hired on 2 ranch hands to help with the cattle drive to market. Jack Ferguson was a grizzled veteran of the range, and Tommy Morrison was barely 20, full of energy and terrible jokes. Both men treated Olivia with respectful courtesy after Owen made it very clear that she was under his protection. Olivia enjoyed having more people around. She cooked meals for the hands, mended their shirts, and listened to their stories of life on the trail. Tommy developed a harmless crush on her that Owen found both amusing and irritating in equal measure. "Miss Olivia," Tommy said one evening, his face red with embarrassment and hope, "there is a dance in town Saturday night. I was wondering if you might like to go with me." Owen, who was standing nearby checking the cinch on his saddle, felt his stomach drop. He waited for Olivia's response, trying to keep his face neutral. Olivia smiled kindly at Tommy. "That is sweet of you to ask, but I think I will pass. I am not really ready for dances yet, but thank you." Tommy looked disappointed but took the rejection gracefully. After he walked away, Olivia turned to find Owen watching her. "You could have gone if you wanted," Owen said, though the words cost him. "I did not want to," Olivia said simply. "Tommy is a nice boy, but he is not what I want." "What do you want?" Owen asked, the question coming out before he could stop it. Olivia held his gaze for a long moment. "I am still figuring that out." The cattle drive was successful, bringing in good money that Owen carefully recorded in the ledgers Olivia had organized. With the profit, he paid his hands, set aside money for winter supplies, and gave Olivia her wages. She looked at the cash in her hand with a complicated expression. "This is enough for a train ticket back to Boston," she said quietly, "with some left over." Owen felt his heart constrict. "Is that what you want to do?" "I do not know," Olivia admitted. "Boston does not feel like home anymore, but I cannot stay here forever on your charity." "It is not charity," Owen said firmly. "You earn every cent. The ranch runs smoother with you here, and it is not just about the work. You have become part of this place, Olivia, part of what makes it home." Olivia's eyes shimmered with tears. "Owen, I need to tell you something. These past months here, they have been the happiest I have been in years, maybe ever. You have given me so much more than just a place to stay. You have given me a purpose, a sense of worth. I was so broken when I arrived, and you helped me put myself back together." "You did that yourself," Owen said. "I just gave you the space to do it." "No," Olivia shook her head. "It was more than that. You saw me when I felt invisible. You trusted me when I did not trust myself. You have been patient and kind and good, and I do not want to leave." Owen's heart began to race. "Then stay." "As what?" Olivia asked. "Your employee, your charity case. Owen, I cannot keep living in this limbo. I need to know what I am to you." This was the moment. Owen could feel the weight of it, the way everything balanced on what he said next. He stepped closer to Olivia, close enough to see the gold flecks in her eyes, close enough to smell the lavender soap she used. "You are the woman I think about when I wake up and before I sleep," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "You are the reason I come in from the fields earlier than I need to, just to hear your voice. You are the future I did not know I wanted until you stepped off that train. I am in love with you, Olivia. I have been for months. I did not say anything because I did not want to pressure you, did not want to make you feel like you owed me anything. But if you are asking what you are to me, that is the truth. You are everything." Olivia let out a shaky breath. Tears were streaming down her face now, but she was smiling. "I was so afraid you just saw me as someone to help, some lost creature to pity." "Never," Owen said fiercely. "You are the strongest person I know. You crossed a continent alone, survived betrayal, and built a new life from nothing." "How could I see that as anything but remarkable?" "I love you too," Olivia whispered. "I think I have for a while now, but I was scared. Scared to trust my feelings again after Samuel. Scared that I was just latching on to you because you saved me. But it is not that. What I feel for you is real and deep, and nothing like what I thought I felt for Samuel. That was a fantasy. This is real." Owen reached up and cupped her face in his hands, his calloused thumbs wiping away her tears. "Can I kiss you, please?" Olivia said. Their first kiss was gentle, tentative, a question and an answer all at once. Then Olivia wrapped her arms around Owen's neck and kissed him deeper, and he pulled her close, feeling like something fundamental had shifted in the universe. When they finally broke apart, both were breathing hard. "Marry me," Owen said. "Not because you need a place to stay or because you owe me anything, but because I want to build a life with you. A real partnership. Your name on the deed, your say in every decision, your dreams woven into mine." Olivia laughed through her tears. "Yes. 1,000 times yes." They were married 3 weeks later in the small church in Manasseh, with Mrs. Chen and the ranch hands as witnesses. Olivia wore a dress she had sewn herself from fabric Owen had bought her, a simple but elegant creation in deep blue that brought out her eyes. Owen wore his best suit, his hair neatly trimmed, looking more nervous than Olivia had ever seen him. The ceremony was short but heartfelt. When the preacher pronounced them husband and wife, Owen kissed Olivia with such tenderness that Mrs. Chen dabbed at her eyes with her handkerchief. The celebration afterward was humble but joyful. Mrs. Chen had prepared a feast, and several people from town came out to the ranch to wish the couple well. To Olivia's surprise, she had made friends during her time in Manasseh. The women from church, the shopkeepers she had gotten to know, even the gruff doctor who had treated her for a burn when she had gotten too close to the stove while learning to cook. They all came to celebrate, bringing gifts and good wishes. As the sun set and the guests began to leave, Owen found Olivia standing on the porch, looking out over the land that was now legally half hers. He wrapped his arms around her from behind, and she leaned back against his chest. "Are you happy?" he asked. "Happier than I knew was possible," Olivia said. "Is that strange? 6 months ago I was at my lowest point, and now I am here, married to a man I love with a home and a future. It almost does not feel real." "It is real," Owen assured her, "and it is going to keep getting better." Their first months of marriage were an adjustment, but a joyful one. Olivia moved her belongings into Owen's room, and they learned the rhythms of sharing a life completely. They learned each other's habits, their quirks, their needs. Owen discovered that Olivia was not a morning person, that she needed quiet time with her coffee before she was ready to face the day. Olivia learned that Owen talked to the horses when he thought no one was listening, that he had a surprisingly good singing voice he was embarrassed about, that he had nightmares sometimes about losing the ranch. They learned each other's bodies too, with tenderness and patience and growing passion. Their wedding night had been sweet but awkward, both of them nervous. But as time went on, they grew more comfortable, more confident in their intimacy. Olivia had never felt so cherished, so desired. Owen had never felt so complete. Winter came to Colorado with a vengeance that year. Snow piled high, and the temperature dropped until even the hardened ranch hands complained. Owen worried about the cattle, about the horses, about keeping everyone fed and warm. But Olivia was a steadying presence, helping him plan and organize, keeping the household running smoothly even when Mrs. Chen was snowed in at her cabin for days at a time. One particularly bad storm kept them all inside for nearly a week. Owen paced like a caged animal, worried about the livestock. Olivia finally grabbed his hand and pulled him to sit by the fire. "You have done everything you can," she said firmly. "You have moved the cattle to the sheltered valley, stocked the barn with feed, brought the horses in close. Now you need to trust in your preparations and rest. Wearing a hole in the floor will not help anything." Owen sighed and pulled her close. "When did you get so wise?" "I married a good teacher," Olivia said, kissing his cheek. They spent those storm-bound days talking for hours, playing cards, reading aloud from the books Olivia had brought from Boston. It was a forced pause in their busy lives, and despite Owen's worry, he found himself treasuring the time alone with his wife. When the storm finally broke, they emerged to find that the ranch had weathered it well. They had lost only 2 calves, far better than Owen had feared. As spring approached and the snow began to melt, Olivia began to feel unwell in the mornings. Mrs. Chen noticed before Olivia did. "You are with child," Mrs. Chen said matter-of-factly one morning after Olivia had rushed outside to be sick. Olivia looked at her in shock. "How can you be sure?" "I have seen this many times. Trust me. You should tell Owen." Olivia was nervous that evening when Owen came in from checking the new calves. She had made his favorite meal, and he noticed immediately that something was different. "What is wrong?" he asked, concerned. "Are you feeling all right?" "Mrs. Chen said you were sick this morning." "I am fine," Olivia assured him. "Better than fine, actually. Owen, I have something to tell you. We are going to have a baby." Owen's face went through a series of expressions so quickly that Olivia almost laughed. Shock, disbelief, wonder, and finally pure joy. "A baby," he repeated. "We are having a baby in about 6 months if Mrs. Chen's calculations are right," Olivia confirmed. Owen let out a whoop of joy and swept Olivia up in his arms, spinning her around. "I am going to be a father. We are going to be parents." "Owen, put me down before you make me dizzy," Olivia laughed, but her eyes were shining with happy tears. That night, Owen could not stop touching Olivia's still flat stomach, marveling at the life growing inside her. "I will build a cradle," he said. "A beautiful one, sturdy and safe, and we will need to think about adding another room to the house. The baby will need space to grow." "We have time," Olivia said, "but yes, we will need to prepare." The pregnancy was not easy. Olivia was sick frequently in the first months, and as she grew larger, she found the physical work of the ranch more difficult. But she adapted, focusing more on the accounting and planning side of things while Mrs. Chen took over more of the physical household tasks. Owen was protective to the point of being overbearing, and Olivia had to firmly tell him more than once that she was pregnant, not fragile. "I know you mean well," she said one day when he had insisted she could not walk to the chicken coop by herself. "But I am going to lose my mind if you keep treating me like I might break. Women have been having babies since the beginning of time. I will be fine." "I just worry," Owen admitted. "You are the most precious thing in my life. I could not bear it if something happened to you." Olivia's expression softened. "Nothing is going to happen to me. I am strong and I have the best care possible, but I need you to trust me to know my own limits." Owen nodded reluctantly. "I will try, but if you need anything, anything at all, you promise you will tell me." "I promise," Olivia said, kissing him. The baby came on a hot August night, 1 year and 2 months after Olivia had arrived in Manasseh. The labor was long and difficult, and Owen spent most of it pacing outside the bedroom while Mrs. Chen and the doctor Mrs. Chen had insisted they bring from town attended to Olivia. Her cries of pain nearly broke Owen's heart, and he had to fight the urge to burst into the room. Finally, just as dawn was breaking, he heard a new sound. A baby's cry, strong and healthy. Mrs. Chen emerged a few minutes later, her face tired but smiling. "You have a son," she said. "A big, healthy boy. Olivia is tired but well. Go meet your child." Owen entered the bedroom to find Olivia propped up against pillows, her hair damp with sweat, looking exhausted and radiant all at once. In her arms was a tiny bundle wrapped in a soft blanket. His son. "Owen," Olivia said softly. "Come meet Henry." Owen approached slowly, almost afraid. The baby was so small, so perfect. He had a fuzz of dark hair and tiny fists that waved in the air. When Owen reached out a finger, Henry's hand closed around it with surprising strength. "He is beautiful," Owen whispered, his voice choked with emotion. "You are amazing. I am so proud of you." "He has your nose," Olivia said with a tired smile, And I think your stubborn chin." Owen sat carefully on the edge of the bed, one arm around Olivia, the other reaching to touch Henry's soft cheek. "I love you both so much. My family, I never thought I would have this." "We have it now," Olivia said. "All of it. Everything we both wanted and more." Being parents changed their lives in ways both profound and mundane. Sleepless nights became the norm as Henry proved to be a colicky baby who did not sleep for more than 2 hours at a stretch. Olivia was exhausted, and Owen did what he could to help, walking the floor with Henry at 3 in the morning, singing the soft songs he had once been embarrassed about. But there were moments of pure magic too. Henry's first smile, directed at Olivia when she was changing him. The way he would stop crying when Owen held him against his chest so he could hear his heartbeat. The sound of his laughter when he was a few months older, a gurgling, joyful noise that made all the sleepless nights worthwhile. The ranch continued to prosper. With Olivia's organizational skills and Owen's hard work, they expanded their operations, buying more land, increasing their herds. They hired more permanent hands, including Tommy Morrison, who had matured into a reliable foreman. Olivia taught Tommy to read better and helped him with his arithmetic, and in return, Tommy was fiercely loyal to the family. When Henry was 2 years old, Olivia discovered she was pregnant again. This pregnancy was easier than the first, perhaps because she knew what to expect. Their daughter, Rose, was born on a mild spring day, her arrival far less dramatic than her brother's had been. She had Olivia's auburn hair and a calm temperament that was a sharp contrast to Henry's energetic nature. "Our family is complete," Owen said, holding Rose while Henry napped against his shoulder. "A son and a daughter, we are blessed." "We are," Olivia agreed. "More than I ever dreamed possible when I was crying at that train station." "Do you ever think about that day?" Owen asked. "About how different your life could have been?" "Sometimes," Olivia admitted. "I think about how I got on that train thinking I knew what my future held, how wrong I was, and how grateful I am that I was wrong. If Samuel had been the man he claimed to be, if he had married me, I would never have had this. I would never have had you or Henry or Rose or this life we have built. So in a strange way, I am grateful to Samuel for being a coward. His loss was my greatest gain." Owen leaned over to kiss her. "I am the one who gained. You saved me as much as I saved you that day. I was so lonely before you came, Olivia. I just did not realize how much until you showed me what it felt like to have a true partner." As the years passed, the ranch became one of the most successful in the region. Owen and Olivia became pillars of the Manasseh community, known for their fairness, their integrity, and their generosity. When neighbors struggled, Owen would quietly extend credit or help with work. When the church needed repairs, Olivia organized fundraising efforts. They were respected and loved, their children growing up surrounded by community. Henry inherited his father's love of the land and his mother's quick mind. By the time he was 10, he could ride as well as any of the hands and was already learning the business side of ranching from Olivia. Rose was quieter, more contemplative, but she had a way with animals that amazed everyone. The most skittish horse would calm under her touch, and she seemed to understand them in a way that could not be taught. One evening, when the children were tucked into bed and Owen and Olivia sat on their porch watching the sunset, Olivia leaned her head on Owen's shoulder. "Are you happy?" she asked, the same question he had asked her on their wedding night so many years ago. "More than I can say," Owen replied. "Every day I wake up grateful. Grateful for you, for our children, for this life. I never take it for granted." "Neither do I," Olivia said. "Sometimes I still cannot believe this is real. That the woman who was sobbing at the train station, who felt like her life was over, ended up with all of this. That woman was brave enough to accept help from a stranger, Owen said. Brave enough to start over in a new place, to open her heart again after being hurt. You built this life as much as I did, Olivia. Never forget that. When Henry was 15 and Rose was 13, Owen and Olivia decided to take a trip they had talked about for years. They traveled to Denver, leaving the ranch in Tommy's capable hands, and spent a week in the growing city. They stayed in a nice hotel, ate in restaurants, and went to the theater. It was like a second honeymoon, a chance to remember who they were outside of being parents and ranchers. On their last night in Denver, they went to a nice restaurant for dinner. As they waited for their meal, Owen reached across the table and took Olivia's hand. "I have been thinking," he said, "about everything we have built together. The ranch is doing well. The children are nearly grown. We have achieved more than I ever thought possible. Why do I sense a but coming?" Olivia asked with a smile. "Not a but," Owen said. "More of an and. I want to keep building with you, Olivia. I want to see where the next 20 years take us. I want to watch Henry take over the ranch someday, to see what Rose does with her remarkable gifts. I want to grow old with you, to have grandchildren, to keep waking up next to you for the rest of my life." Olivia's eyes filled with tears. "That is exactly what I want too, all of it. You are my great adventure, Owen Zimmerman. Every day with you is a gift." They returned to the ranch refreshed and ready to face whatever came next. And what came next was both joyful and challenging. Henry, at 18, fell in love with the daughter of a neighboring rancher. Owen and Olivia watched their son navigate his first serious relationship with the wisdom and respect they had tried to instill in him. When Henry asked for their blessing to marry at 19, they gave it, seeing in his eyes the same certainty they had felt about each other. Rose decided she wanted to study veterinary medicine, a bold choice for a woman in 1904. But Owen and Olivia supported her dream, helping her find a program that would accept female students. It meant Rose would leave for several years, and Olivia struggled with letting her daughter go. But she knew that holding Rose back would be a betrayal of everything she believed in. "We raised her to be independent and strong," Owen reminded Olivia the night before Rose left for school. "We have to trust that she will be all right." "I know," Olivia said, wiping her eyes. "It is just hard. She is my baby." "She will always be your baby," Owen said gently. "But she is also a capable young woman ready to make her mark on the world, just like her mother did." As Owen and Olivia moved into their 40s and then their 50s, the ranch continued to be their life's work. But they also made time for each other, for quiet moments on the porch, for rides out to their favorite meadow, for nights spent talking by the fire. Their love had deepened over the years, becoming something richer and more complex than the initial spark of attraction. Henry and his wife gave them 3 grandchildren, 2 boys and a girl, who loved visiting the ranch and learning from their grandfather. Rose returned from veterinary school and set up a practice in Manassas, becoming the first female veterinarian in the region. She never married, declaring herself perfectly content with her work and her family. Both children remained close to their parents, drawn back to the ranch by bonds of love and shared history. On their 30th wedding anniversary, Owen surprised Olivia with a trip to the spot where they had first kissed, the place near the barn where she had confessed her love for him all those years ago. He had arranged for the family to prepare a special dinner, but first he wanted this moment alone with his wife. "You remember?" he asked as they stood in the fading light. "Every detail," Olivia said. "I was so scared and so hopeful all at once. I thought you might not feel the same way." "I fell in love with you the moment I saw you at that train station," Owen said. "I just did not know it yet, but my heart knew. My heart knew you were the one I had been waiting for." Olivia cupped his weathered face in her hands. His hair was gray now, his face lined by years of sun and wind, but to her, he was as handsome as the day they met. You gave me a life beyond my wildest dreams. You saw me when I felt invisible. You loved me when I felt unlovable. You have been my partner, my lover, my best friend. I would do it all again, every moment, just to end up here with you. They kissed as the sun set, two people who had found each other against all odds and built something lasting and true. The years continued to roll by, bringing changes and challenges. They lost Mrs. Chen when she was in her 80s, passing peacefully in her sleep. Her death hit them both hard, as she had been with them through so much. They lost friends and neighbors, saw new people come to Manasseh, watched the world change around them. Automobiles began to appear in town, telephones connected people across distances, and the wild west of their youth slowly gave way to something more settled and civilized. But through it all, Owen and Olivia remained constant to each other. They faced each challenge together, celebrated each joy together, held each other through sorrows and triumphs. Their love was the foundation on which everything else was built. When Owen was in his late 60s, he had a health scare that reminded them both of their mortality. A pain in his chest that the doctor said was his heart giving him a warning. Owen was forced to slow down, to let Henry handle more of the ranch work, to accept that he was getting older. It was hard for a man who had always been so active, but Olivia was there to support him, to remind him that there was no shame in aging, that they had earned their rest. "We have worked hard our whole lives," she told him as they sat on the porch, a blanket over his lap despite the mild weather. "We have built something that will outlast us. Now it is time to enjoy what we have created." Owen took her hand, noting how the years had marked them both. Her auburn hair was white now, her face lined, but she was still beautiful to him. Still the woman he had fallen in love with. "I am ready to slow down," he admitted. "As long as I can slow down with you." "Always with me," Olivia promised, "until the very end." They spent their final years in a gentler rhythm, morning coffee on the porch, watching the ranch wake up. Visits from grandchildren who climbed on their laps and begged for stories of the old days. Quiet evenings reading or just sitting together in comfortable silence. They took joy in simple things. The first flowers of spring, the sound of rain on the roof, the laughter of family gathered around their table for Sunday dinner. On a warm summer evening in 1924, 40 years after they first met, Owen and Olivia sat on their porch watching another Colorado sunset. Owen was 70 now, Olivia 63. They had lived a full life together, raised good children, built a legacy they could be proud of. "You have any regrets?" Olivia asked, a question that came from nowhere and everywhere. Owen thought for a moment. "Not a single one. Everything I have done, every choice I have made led me here. To you, to this life. How could I regret any of it?" "I feel the same way," Olivia said. "Even the hard parts, the painful parts, they were all worth it to have this." Owen shifted so he could look at his wife fully. "I want you to know something. In case I do not get to say it enough. You have been the great joy of my life, Olivia. Loving you, being loved by you, it has been my greatest privilege. Every morning I wake up next to you is a gift I never take for granted." Olivia felt tears slip down her cheeks. "You say it enough, my love. You show it every day, but I never get tired of hearing it. You are my heart, Owen, my home. Everything good in my life traces back to the moment you asked a crying woman to come home with you." They sat together as the sky turned from gold to purple to deep blue, stars beginning to appear like diamonds scattered across velvet. Somewhere in the distance, a coyote called. The horses nickered softly in the barn. The land they had worked and loved breathed around them, alive with memory and promise. Henry and his family lived in the main house now, having taken over most of the ranch operations. Owen and Olivia had moved to a smaller cottage on the property, a cozy place perfect for two people who needed less space but the same amount of love. They could still be involved in ranch life, could still watch their legacy continue, but they had the peace and quiet they craved in their older years. Their grandchildren were growing, the oldest nearly ready to take his own place in the ranch's future. It gave Owen deep satisfaction to know that the land he had built up from nothing would continue in the family, that the values he and Olivia had tried to instill would carry forward. Rose visited frequently, her veterinary practice keeping her busy, but never too busy for family. She was respected and successful, a pioneer in her field, and both Owen and Olivia were enormously proud of her courage and determination. One Sunday, when all the family was gathered for dinner, Owen looked around the table and felt his heart swell with gratitude. 3 generations sat there, talking and laughing, the noise and chaos of a big family meal filling the house with life. His children, his grandchildren, all healthy and happy and loved. And next to him, still and always, was Olivia. She caught him looking and smiled, that same smile that had captivated him 40 years ago. Some things never changed. Some things were eternal. After dinner, when the dishes were cleared and the children were playing in the yard, Henry pulled his parents aside. "I wanted to tell you both something," he said. "Sarah is expecting again. The baby should come in the spring." Olivia gasped with delight and hugged her son. Owen clapped him on the back, grinning. Another grandchild, another generation, another layer to the legacy they had built. "Your mother and I are so proud of you," Owen said. "Of the man you have become, the father you are, the way you have taken care of this ranch. You have exceeded every hope we had." Henry's eyes grew damp. "I learned from the best. You and Mother showed me what it means to build a life on hard work and love. I am just trying to do the same." That night, back in their cottage, Owen and Olivia prepared for bed with the ease of long practice. They had shared a bed for 40 years, knew each other's nighttime routines as well as their own. As they settled under the quilts Olivia had made, Owen pulled her close. Despite their age, despite the aches and pains that came with decades of hard work, they still sought each other's comfort every night. "Another grandchild," Olivia murmured sleepily. "We are so blessed." "We are," Owen agreed. "More than I ever thought possible." "Do you remember what you said to me that first night, when you brought me here?" Olivia asked. Owen thought back. "I said a lot of things." "Which part?" "You said I had honest eyes, that you trusted your gut about people, and your gut said I was good folk who got dealt a bad hand." "I remember," Owen said. "I was right, was I not?" "You were," Olivia said. "But what I never told you was that in that moment I looked at you and thought the same thing. That despite everything that had just happened with Samuel, despite how broken I felt, something in me recognized you." "Recognized home." Owen kissed the top of her head. "It was meant to be, all of it. The good and the bad that brought us to that moment, it was all leading us to each other." They drifted off to sleep wrapped in each other's arms, just as they had done thousands of nights before. Outside, the Colorado night settled over the ranch, peaceful and quiet. The cattle bedded down in the fields, the horses dozed in their stalls, and the land itself seemed to rest, secure in the knowledge that it was well tended and loved. The seasons continued their endless cycle. Winter came with snow that blanketed the ranch in white. Spring brought new calves and new life. Summer meant long days of work under the hot sun. Autumn painted the aspens gold and prepared the world for winter again. Through it all, Owen and Olivia moved together, their lives intertwined so completely that it was hard to tell where one ended and the other began. On their 45th anniversary, the family threw them a big celebration. Friends from all over the county came to honor the couple who had become something of a legend in the area. People told stories of Owen's fairness in business, Olivia's generosity to those in need, the way they had built not just a successful ranch, but a good life rooted in love and integrity. Owen, now 75 but still sharp-minded despite his physical limitations, stood to say a few words. Olivia sat nearby, her hand in roses, watching her husband with eyes full of love. "I am not much for speeches," Owen began, and several people laughed because it was true. "But I want to say something today. 45 years ago, I married the woman I found crying at the train station in Manassas. I asked her to come home with me that night because I could not stand to see her alone and hurting. I thought I was just offering help. I had no idea I was inviting home the person who would become my whole world." He looked at Olivia, and everyone in the room could see the depth of feeling in his gaze. "Olivia, you have made my life richer than I ever imagined it could be. You have given me children and grandchildren who fill my heart with pride. You have been my partner in every sense of the word, working beside me to build our ranch, supporting me through hard times, celebrating with me in good times. You have loved me in ways I did not know I needed. And if I had 1,000 lifetimes, I would choose to spend every single one with you." There was not a dry eye in the room. Olivia stood and walked to her husband, taking his hands in hers. "You saved my life that day at the station," she said, her voice strong despite her tears. "But more than that, you showed me what love really is. Not the fantasy I had built up in letters to a stranger, but real, true partnership. You have honored me, respected me, cherished me, and challenged me to be better than I thought I could be. These 45 years have been the greatest adventure of my life, and I would not change a single moment." They kissed, and the room erupted in applause and cheers. Their children looked at each other with satisfaction, proud that their parents' love was still so vibrant and real after all these years. As the party continued into the evening, Owen and Olivia slipped away for a few moments alone. They walked slowly to the barn, to the spot where they had first confessed their love for each other. "We have come full circle," Olivia said, leaning against Owen for support as much as affection. "We have lived a good life," Owen said. "Better than good, extraordinary. No regrets." Olivia asked, echoing their conversation from years before. "Not a single one," Owen confirmed. "You?" "Only that we do not have another 45 years ahead of us," Olivia said, "but I will take whatever time we have left and treasure every second." They stood together in the gathering darkness, two people who had found each other against all odds and built something that would last long after they were gone. The ranch would continue, passed down through generations. Their children would carry forward the values they had instilled. Their love story would become family legend, told and retold to children and grandchildren yet unborn. But in that moment, none of that mattered. All that mattered was the warmth of Owen's arm around Olivia's shoulders, the steady beat of his heart that she could feel when she leaned against his chest, the absolute certainty that they belonged to each other completely. They returned to the party hand in hand, ready to celebrate with their family, to make more memories that would sustain them through whatever time they had left. Because that was what life was about, they had learned. Not the grand gestures or the dramatic moments, but the quiet accumulation of days lived with love, with purpose, with gratitude for the gift of each other. Years later, when Owen was 78 and Olivia 71, Owen's health began to fail more seriously. His heart, which had given him warning years before, was finally wearing out. The doctors could do little except make him comfortable and advise him to rest. Owen accepted this with the same quiet dignity he had approached everything else in his life. Olivia refused to leave his side. She set up a comfortable chair next to his bed and spent her days there, reading to him, talking to him, just being present. Henry tried to convince her to rest more, but she would not hear of it. "I have spent nearly 50 years at this man's side," she said firmly. "I am not leaving him now." On a quiet autumn evening with the window open to let in the cool breeze, Owen took Olivia's hand. He was weak, his breathing labored, but his mind was clear. "Olivia," he whispered, "my love, my life." "I am here," Olivia said, leaning close. "I am right here." "I need you to know," Owen said slowly, each word an effort, "that I was the luckiest man who ever lived, because I got to love you, because you loved me back. Everything else was just extra. You were the point of it all." Olivia's tears fell freely. "You were my miracle, my second chance. My great love. This life we built, Owen, it was better than anything I could have imagined." "Promise me," Owen said. "Promise you will be all right, that you will let Henry and Rose take care of you, that you will not grieve too long." "I promise to let them take care of me," Olivia said. "But I cannot promise not to grieve. How can I not mourn the loss of my heart?" Owen managed a small smile. "Then grieve. But remember the joy too. Remember the life we had. And know that I will be waiting for you whenever you are ready. I will find you again, just like I found you at that station." "I will find you too," Olivia whispered. "In whatever comes next, I will find you." Owen's eyes closed, but he was still breathing, still holding her hand. Olivia began to sing, very softly, a lullaby she used to sing to their children. Owen's breathing slowed, became peaceful, and as the sun set over the ranch they had built together, he took one last breath and was gone. Olivia sat with him for a long time, still holding his hand, still singing. When she finally stopped, when she finally let Henry and Rose come into the room, she was dry-eyed and calm. "He is at peace," she said simply. "And he knew he was loved." The funeral was attended by what seemed like the whole county. Owen had touched many lives, and people came from far and wide to pay their respects. But it was Olivia's quiet dignity that people remembered most. She stood at the graveside, flanked by her children, and spoke about her husband with love and gratitude rather than bitterness at his loss. "Owen gave me a life I never dared to dream of," she said. "He showed me what it means to be truly partnered with someone to build something that lasts. His love shaped me, changed me, made me better. And that love does not end just because he is gone. It lives on in our children, our grandchildren, in this ranch, in every life he touched. That is his legacy. That is what I will carry forward." Olivia lived for another 3 years after Owen's death. She remained sharp and engaged, spending time with her grandchildren, helping Rose with her practice, advising Henry on ranch matters. But everyone could see that part of her had gone with Owen. She was not sad exactly, but there was a quality of waiting about her, as if she was simply biding her time until she could join him. She spent many hours at his grave, talking to him, updating him on family news. She would sit in the cottage they had shared and feel his presence around her. Sometimes she would catch a scent that reminded her of him, or hear a sound that made her turn, expecting to see him there. On a spring morning in 1930, Olivia woke feeling different, lighter somehow. She had breakfast with Henry's family, played with her great-grandchildren who were visiting, and then retired to her cottage for an afternoon rest. She sat in her favorite chair, the one she had occupied for so many years next to Owen's bed at the end, and closed her eyes. Rose found her later that afternoon, peaceful and still, a slight smile on her face. On her lap was an old photograph from their wedding day, Owen looking nervous and proud, Olivia radiant with hope and love. They buried her next to Owen, under the Colorado sky they had both loved. The whole family gathered, along with friends old and new, to say goodbye to the woman who had become the matriarch of not just a family but a community. Henry spoke at her funeral, his voice thick with emotion. "My mother once told me that she came to Colorado thinking her life was over. She had been betrayed, abandoned, and left alone in a strange place with nothing but 17 cents and a carpetbag. And then a cowboy found her crying at the station and asked her to come home with him. That moment of grace, that act of kindness, changed everything. Not just for her, but for all of us. Because from that one decision, this whole family came to be. Our ranch, our lives, everything we have. It all started because my father saw a woman in need and offered help, and my mother was brave enough to accept it." He paused, looking out over the assembled crowd. "They showed us what love looks like. Not the easy, romantic kind you read about in books, but real love. The kind that works through problems, that sacrifices, that builds and protects and endures. They gave us a foundation of love and respect and partnership that we are all trying to live up to. And though we will miss them terribly, we are so grateful for the legacy they left behind." As the sun set that evening, the family gathered at the ranch house, sharing memories and stories of Owen and Olivia. The tales came out, some funny, some touching, all of them painting a picture of two people who had loved deeply and lived fully. Years turned into decades. The ranch continued to thrive under Henry's leadership, and then his sons. Rose's practice grew and evolved, and she trained younger women to follow in her footsteps. The family expanded, new generations coming along, but the story of Owen and Olivia remained central to their identity. Every anniversary of that day when Owen found Olivia at the station, the family would gather at their graves. They would bring flowers, tell stories, make sure the newest generation knew where they came from, because it mattered. Because that moment of connection, that choice to help a stranger, had rippled out through time and created all of this. The cottage where Owen and Olivia spent their final years together was preserved, turned into a sort of family museum. Their belongings, their photographs, Olivia's carefully maintained ledgers and Owen's worn work gloves, all were kept as reminders of the real people behind the legend. And sometimes, on quiet evenings when the light hit just right, family members swore they could feel Owen and Olivia's presence there. A sense of peace, of enduring love, of two souls who had found each other against all odds and built something eternal. The ranch still stands today, a testament to what two people can build when they face the world together. The land Owen worked is still productive. The values he and Olivia instilled still guide the family. And every person who knows the story of Owen and Olivia Zimmerman takes away the same lesson. That sometimes the worst moments of our lives are actually doorways to the best. That kindness to strangers can change everything. And that real, true love, the kind that lasts through decades and hardship and joy, is the greatest legacy anyone can leave behind. Owen found a woman crying at the station and said, "Come home with me tonight." And from that one moment of compassion, from that one act of grace, came a love story that would be told for generations. A story of second chances, of finding home in another person, of building a life on a foundation of respect and partnership and deep, abiding love. It was a story that proved that sometimes the best things in life come when we are brave enough to accept help, brave enough to offer it, and brave enough to believe that even in our darkest moments, there might be someone waiting to show us the way home.